And the Aegis Award for Best Actor goes to... Let's hear it for... Seated in the front row, Ethan Cole smoothed the lapels of his tuxedo, his body already coiled to stand. The people around him were already turning, offering premature congratulations with knowing smiles. Leo Vance. The host's voice boomed through the auditorium. Ethan, halfway out of his seat, froze. The blood drained from his face. Amid a confused smatter of applause and whispers, he sank back into his chair, his posture rigid, his hands clenching into fists in his lap. He forced himself to turn, his gaze sweeping over the audience until it landed on a shadowy corner in the back. A woman with an unmistakable aura sat there, half hidden by the darkness, but Ethan would recognize her anywhere. It was his fiancée, Aria Vance. But she wasn't here for him. She was here for the man on stage, Leo Vance. The murmurs around him grew louder. Leo Vance? Who the hell is that? Some D-list nobody? How did he possibly deserve Best Actor? This was supposed to be Ethan Cole's year. It was a lock. No one else even came close. What was going on? They didn't know, but Ethan did. He could feel it in his bones. This was Aria's doing. She was, after all, the biggest investor behind the award ceremony. And Leo Vance was her brother-in-law. And her first love. They had broken up years ago over some misunderstanding. By the time they met again, Leo was married to her older sister. 3 months ago, her sister had passed away after a long illness. And just like that, Leo was back in Aria's life. Yesterday, Leo had mentioned it to her offhandedly. It would be amazing to win that award, he'd said. My mother would be so proud, watching from heaven. And today, Aria had made his wish come true. The award Ethan had worked 7 grueling years to earn was handed to a newcomer on a silver platter. The irony was a bitter pill in his throat. After the ceremony, Ethan stumbled backstage, his mind reeling. A tall figure approached, her heels clicking purposefully on the concrete floor. He looked up at Aria, his voice raspy with disbelief. Why would you do that? Aria's expression was perfectly composed, without a flicker of guilt. You've won so many awards, Ethan. You don't need this one. What's the big deal letting Leo have it? She continued, her tone maddeningly reasonable. My sister neglected him for years while she was sick. Now that she's gone, it's up to me, as her sister, to make it up to him. Her words were calm, logical, as if she were closing a business deal. Ethan let out a harsh, disbelieving laugh. What my sister owed him has nothing to do with me. Why should you use my career to pay her debts? His voice rose, cracking with anger. Do you have any idea how much this award meant to me? How hard I worked for it? How could you just rig it for someone else? He was so furious he couldn't finish the sentence. Seeing how deeply it affected him, a rare flicker of uncertainty crossed Aria's face. She hesitated, then softened her tone slightly. All right, it's just a trophy. Is it really worth getting this upset over? I'll make sure you get next year. How about that? A bitter, humorless smile twisted Ethan's lips. Don't you dare insult me, Aria. Ethan Cole had clawed his way to the top of this industry on his own merit. Every award he'd ever won was earned through talent and hard work, not charity. Aria's expression hardened. Just then, a figure ran towards them, throwing his arms around her in a jubilant embrace. Aria, I can't believe it. I actually won. Leo Vance held up the golden statuette, his face beaming. I'm so new to this business. Winning Best Actor feels like a dream. Aria's face broke into a genuine smile. You were incredible, she said, her praise flowing easily. You worked hard, and you got what you deserved. Deserved. The word was so laughable it hurt. Leo had entered the industry a few months ago, starred in one obscure indie film that vanished without a trace. And now this was what he deserved? What did that say about actors like Ethan, who poured their souls into their craft? He couldn't listen to another word. He turned and walked away. Ethan was bone-tired when he got back to their penthouse, but the exhaustion was nothing compared to the hollow ache in his chest. The moment he opened the door and saw Leo's things scattered everywhere, a new jacket slung over a chair, a pair of expensive sneakers by the door, a suffocating tightness seized him. Ever since Leo had moved in, everything had changed. Whatever he wanted, Aria gave him. He wanted to act. Aria bought him a script. He wanted to sing. Aria bought him a song. Her indulgence knew no bounds. The image of Leo holding his award flashed in his mind, and a fresh wave of nausea washed over him. He had to distract himself. He pulled out his phone and opened Instagram. The first post in his feed was from Leo. New house, new car. She said it was a surprise. Today was a perfect day. Hope I can be this happy forever. There were 3 photos. One of a sprawling mansion in the Hollywood Hills. One of a gleaming sports car. Both screamed money. The third was a picture of Aria's back. Even though he could only see half of her, Ethan would never mistake it. He had been with her for 3 years. On his birthday, she'd wire him money, too busy to even pick out a gift. Her excuse was always the same. I don't know what men like. But somehow, she knew exactly what to give Leo Vance. A sharp pain, like a needle, pierced Ethan's heart. He kept scrolling and saw a post from a senior executive at Aria's company. Did the boss hit the lottery? Company-wide bonuses for everyone. Is there a wedding on the horizon? Winking face, Aria had liked the post. Ethan's fingers tightened on his phone, the screen going dark. He let out a cold, empty laugh. Aria and Leo didn't get back until after midnight, both reeking of alcohol. Aria collapsed onto the sofa and pointed a lazy finger at Ethan. Give me and Leo a glass of water. Leo jabbed a finger in his direction. TSK. She's talking to you. Are you deaf? The alcohol had stripped away their pretenses. Ethan didn't want to argue with a drunk. He stood and walked toward the kitchen. The moment he was gone, he heard Leo pull Aria into his arms, his voice thick and syrupy. Honey, I love you so much. Ethan froze. He turned back. He saw Aria return the embrace without hesitation, her hands moving in a familiar, practiced way. She leaned in, her lips close to Leo's ear. Leo, do you know who I am? You're my wife, of course. Say my name. You're Aria Vance. He said it clearly, enunciating each syllable. He wasn't mistaking her for his late wife. He knew exactly who he was with. The next second, Aria lowered her head and kissed him. Ethan's eyes widened. His hand shot out, knocking a glass off the console table. The sound of shattering glass startled Aria. She pulled back, blinking as if waking from trance. She stood up and looked at Ethan, pressing a hand to her forehead. Ethan, I'm drunk. I thought he was you. She started walking toward him. A wave of revulsion churned in Ethan's stomach. Don't touch me, he snapped, batting her hand away as she reached for him. The rejection in his voice was absolute. Aria stopped, stunned. Just then, Leo lurched over to the trash can and started vomiting, moaning her name between heaves. Aria, I feel so sick. Aria immediately snapped back to reality. She rushed to Leo's side, wiping his mouth, giving him water, and holding him as she gently patted his back. She was so tender. She used to be like that with Ethan, but ever since Leo came back, it was like she couldn't see anyone else. In that moment, Ethan finally allowed himself to admit the truth. There was no going back. Aria was in love with someone else. He took one last, long look at her, then turned and went upstairs. He pulled out his phone and called his agent. How much work do I have left on my schedule? His agent's sleepy voice came through the line. Not much. What's up, Ethan? Ethan's voice was firm. Finish it up and don't book anything new. I'm quitting. I'm leaving the country. He was tired. So tired. He just didn't want to see either of them ever again. The news that the Aegis Award for Best Actor had gone to a complete unknown exploded online. The internet was a firestorm of opinions, some defending the choice, most attacking it, everyone speculating about the powerful benefactor behind Leo Vance. Overnight, Leo was a star. When Ethan woke up the next morning, his phone was flooded with headlines about Leo. He glanced at them once before starting to pack. A knock came at his door. It was Aria. What are you doing? She asked, frowning at his suitcase. Ethan's face was a blank mask. What does it look like? I'm going to work. Aria seemed to relax. Good. Since Leo is so popular right now, and he doesn't know the industry yet, you should take him with you. Ethan's hand stilled. Why should I? The moment the words left his mouth, Aria's expression soured. Can you stop being so petty? He was my brother-in-law, which makes him your brother-in-law. You should look out for him. Brother-in-law? Ethan sneered. I've never seen anyone kiss their brother-in-law like that. Aria's face went cold. I already explained. I was drunk and thought he was you. Can we stop this childish argument? She said dismissively. You should learn from Leo. Try to be more considerate of me for a change. As if on cue, Leo appeared, rubbing his eyes. He wrapped his arms around Aria from behind, a gesture of casual intimacy. Hey, Ethan, aren't you heading to that reality show taping? My agent just called. Turns out I'm on the same one. He smiled. I don't have any experience. You'll have to show me the ropes. Ethan looked up at him. He had to admit, Leo was a natural actor. A damn good one. He was a master of playing two-faced, acting polite and friendly whenever Aria was around, then dropping the act the second she was gone. Ethan ignored him, but Leo stuck to him like glue, following him all the way to the studio. Backstage, their arrival together sparked a flurry of whispers. Leo stayed by Ethan's side, acting as if they were the best of friends. Ethan couldn't shake him. Soon, filming began. One of the challenges required pairs to cross a high-wire rope bridge. As luck would have it, Ethan was paired with Leo. I'll go first. Leo volunteered eagerly. He got to the middle of the bridge and stopped, his legs shaking dramatically, causing the entire bridge to sway violently. Ethan nearly lost his balance several times. "Can you stop moving?" Ethan called out, his voice tight with frustration. "Just keep walking. We're going to lose." The next second, Leo's foot slipped. He plunged downward, but in a last-ditch effort, he grabbed onto Ethan's arm, yanking him down with him. To make matters worse, something was wrong with Ethan's safety harness. It went slack. He plummeted, slamming onto a thin safety mat 15 feet below with a sickening thud. The impact knocked the wind out of him, and his vision swam. Through a dizzying haze, he saw a figure rush past him, ignoring him completely, and cradle Leo in their arms. It was Arya. Her voice was thunderous. Who was in charge of this segment? "Get them out here now." The show's director and producers swarmed her, bowing and scraping. "We are so sorry, Ms. Vance. I'll get to the bottom of this immediately. I'll give you a full report." It was obvious Arya had poured a fortune into this show, too. She was sparing no expense to make Leo a star. Leo, meanwhile, groaned in pain, clinging to Arya for dear life. But from an angle no one else could see, he shot a triumphant, mocking look at Ethan. Ethan was still on the ground, unable to move. A crushing pain radiated from his chest. Arya hadn't even glanced his way. The on-set medics rushed over, their faces paling when they examined him. "Call an ambulance now. He might have broken ribs." Only then did Arya finally spare him a look. It was nothing more than a slight frown. Ethan's assistant couldn't take it anymore. She turned on Leo. "Ethan wasn't going to fall. Why did you have to pull him down with you?" Leo put on his most innocent face. "Ethan, you shouldn't have rushed me. If you hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten so nervous and fallen. What was I supposed to do?" With just a few words, it was all Ethan's fault. The assistant started to argue, but Arya silenced her with a single icy glare. "If he's hurt, take him to the hospital. Don't just stand there blaming Leo for everything that goes wrong." "Ethan, she's a fine reflection of your character." Ethan couldn't even defend himself. The pain was so intense his whole body was shaking. He lay on his back, staring up at the bright studio lights, and then closed his eyes, shutting it all out. Hashtag Arya and Leo, Hollywood's new power couple. The hashtag exploded on Twitter. Someone had leaked footage from the set, and now the world knew who was backing Leo Vance. Wow, Arya Vance, the CEO of Vance Industries? This is straight out of a movie. Politics aside, they look amazing together. I totally ship them. But why did Leo fall in the first place? Apparently Ethan Cole was rushing him and broke his concentration. So unprofessional. Ethan's always been too competitive. He doesn't deserve his success. The narrative shifted in an instant. Suddenly, Ethan was the villain, a bully who used his status to intimidate newcomers. Leo, on the other hand, was portrayed as the innocent victim. Any negative comments about him were scrubbed from the internet almost as soon as they appeared. Ethan read all of this from his hospital bed, a bitter smile on his face. "Arya, oh Arya, to build him up, do you really have to tear me down and feed him my blood? What is your heart made of?" He was in the hospital for 5 days. Arya never visited. Instead, she and Leo made a guest appearance on a popular late-night talk show. During the interview, the host asked, "So, when did you two get together?" Leo smiled shyly, looking at Arya with pure adoration. She took the question. "We've known each other for many years. And through it all, we never forgot each other." In the 3 years Ethan had been with her, she had refused to ever go public with their relationship. When he was once the target of a vicious rumor campaign, accused of being kept by several wealthy socialites, he had begged her to stand by him. She had refused. "If you're in this business, you have to be able to handle the pressure and the tabloids," she'd said, her voice cold and detached. "No one can protect you forever." But now, with Leo barely in the industry, she was his shield, his champion, protecting him from the slightest criticism. To say it didn't hurt would be a lie. Ethan didn't stay in a hospital any longer than he had to. He had a red carpet event to attend. For events like this, he was always dressed in expensive, custom-made designer suits. While waiting in the prep room, he ran into Arya and Leo. They were inseparable. Leo's eyes lit up when he saw Ethan's suit, his face filled with unconcealed envy. "The tailoring on that is exquisite. I wish I had something like that to wear." Arya's gaze slowly drifted over. She walked up to Ethan, grabbed his wrist, and pulled him aside. Her voice was low and direct. "Take that suit off and give it to Leo. This is his first red carpet. He needs to wear something he loves so he can feel confident." "Are you insane?" Ethan yanked his arm away. "This is a custom loan from a major designer. His status. Frankly, he doesn't have the clout to wear something like this." Something in his words triggered her. A cold smile touched her lips. "Who doesn't have a clout?" She pulled out her phone and made a call. When she turned back to him, Her eyes were like ice. $1 million. I just bought the suit. It's a gift for Leo. So tell me now, does he have the clout? Her voice dropped to a menacing whisper. Take it off. Now you're the one who doesn't deserve to wear it. People were milling about, stylists and publicists glancing their way. She wanted him to strip, right here. Ethan's hands balled into fists. He didn't move. Aria's patience wore thin. Don't make me say it again. I'd rather not force you. But what was this if not force? Humiliation washed over him. As more people started to stare, he gritted his teeth and started unbuttoning his jacket. He had nothing on underneath but his briefs. He stood there bare-chested and exposed. He pulled the clothes off quickly and threw them in her face. His voice was laced with utter disappointment. As you wish, Aria. Phones were already up, cameras flashing. A crazed fan lunged toward him, but Aria shoved her back. He's not for you to touch, she snarled, her voice like frozen steel. Then, she shrugged off her own long coat and tossed it at Ethan, wrapping him in it. Her tone was flat. I hope you won't be so petty next time. You already have so much. Leo has nothing. It wouldn't kill you to give him a leg up. That night, Ethan walked the red carpet in a plain, unremarkable suit and was mocked by the fashion critics for looking disheveled. Leo, in a $1 million custom suit, was the star of the night. When a reporter asked him how he'd managed to secure such an exclusive piece, Leo just smiled. It wasn't a loan. She bought it for me. The story of her extravagant gift went viral, and once again, everyone knew just how much Aria Vance adored him. Leo Vance began his full-scale invasion of Hollywood. Wherever Ethan went, Leo followed. During the final scenes of Ethan's latest movie, Leo was suddenly and forcefully added to the cast. Overnight, Ethan's role was slashed in half. All his character's defining moments, the powerful, emotional scenes, were rewritten and handed to Leo. Director, I'm not quite sure how to play this scene. Can you give me some pointers? Leo asked, holding the script before take. The director glanced at the page. Oh, this part's simple. You just slap him. Make it emotional, intense. It's better if you use a little force. Ethan, standing nearby, froze. He didn't remember any slapping in the script. When he confronted the screenwriter, the man just stammered, Look, I was just following orders. Don't blame me. There was nothing I could do. It wasn't hard to guess whose orders those were. Leo returned to Ethan, a smug grin on his face. Ethan, for the sake of realism, you don't mind if I actually hit you, do you? He said, his voice dripping with false sincerity. You're a professional. I'm sure you'll agree. He raised an eyebrow. Right. Ethan's gaze flickered past him. In the distance, he saw Aria, wearing a hat and sunglasses, an understated yet commanding presence. She was on watch the entire shoot. He had no choice. Ethan swallowed his bitterness. What followed was exactly what he expected. Dozens of takes, dozens of slaps. Leo, who could nail every other line, suddenly couldn't get the slap right. He'd forget his line, or his emotion was off. Again and again. After half an hour, Ethan's face was red and swollen. Even the director couldn't watch anymore. Let's take 5, everyone. Ethan's cheeks burned. His assistant was practically shaking with rage. That Leo is such a manipulative prick. He's doing it on purpose. I can't stand him. Ethan felt sick, but he tried to comfort her. It's fine. Once this movie is done, it's all over. Just then, he saw Aria walking toward them, an ice pack in her hand. Does her face still hurt? She asked, a rare note of concern in her voice. Ethan shot back. What do you think? Aria didn't answer. She just said, Leo's new to this. It's normal for him to struggle sometimes. You need to be more patient with him. If you have to, just do a few more takes. Ethan wanted to laugh. He just won Best Actor, and I'm supposed to be patient with him? Why don't you let him slap you a few dozen times and see how you feel? Aria's brow furrowed. Isn't this part of your job? You chose this profession. Taking a hit is part of the package. You have no right to complain. After lecturing him, she held out the ice pack. Here, put this on and get back to set. Leo needs to eat soon. He has a sensitive stomach. He can't go hungry. She probably didn't remember that Ethan had stomach problems, too. He let out a self-deprecating laugh. Before he could take the ice pack, Leo sauntered over. He went straight to Aria, holding out his hands and pouting. Aria, my hand hurts. This scene is so hard. I'm tired of hitting him. The ice pack, halfway to Ethan, was retracted. Aria placed it gently in Leo's palm, her voice softening. If you're tired, we can stop for today. We'll continue tomorrow, okay? Leo immediately turned to Ethan, his voice deliberately loud. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Is that okay with you, Ethan? Out of Aria's line of sight, Leo's face was a mask of pure mockery. There was no trace of innocence in his eyes. Ethan stared at him, his jaw tight. He enunciated each word with cold precision. No, it's not. Leo continued his act. Why not? My hand really hurts. He held out his hand to Ethan, a clear provocation. Something inside Ethan snapped. He couldn't take it anymore. He swung, his fist connecting squarely with the side of Leo's face. "Leo," he snarled, "did you have to come here and be such a damn snake?" Leo, clearly not expecting a physical response, stumbled back, stunned. He touched his cheek, then turned to Arya, his face a mask of wounded betrayal. "Arya, my face hurts so much. What if it's ruined?" "I'm sorry," Leo whimpered, his voice catching. "I shouldn't have followed the script and hit Ethan. It's normal for him to be angry with me, but it still really hurts." Leo was a handsome man with a pleasant voice. The slightest hint of vulnerability made him sound like he'd suffered the world's greatest injustice. Arya's expression was the ugliest Ethan had ever seen as she gently touched Leo's face. When she was truly angry, she didn't yell. She went quiet, her face freezing over until it was terrifyingly cold. She lifted her eyes to Ethan. "If you insist on testing my limits, I will teach you the meaning of regret." Her gaze was so chilling it could freeze blood. But Ethan felt no fear, no inclination to back down. He soon found out what she meant. He was fired from the film. And then came the real blow. Arya had him blacklisted across the industry. The ban was for 5 years. Ethan was at the peak of his career. A 5-year blacklist was a death sentence. Even though he had already planned to quit, the finality of her decision, the sheer ruthlessness of it, sent a chill through him. Did their years together mean nothing to her? It all felt like a sick joke. That night, he went back to the penthouse to pack his things. What he could take, he took. What he couldn't, he threw away. Soon, the home he had shared with Arya for 3 years was half empty. He stood in the silent, barren room, and a memory surfaced. The day they had moved in. Back then, Arya had still cared. She would massage his shoulders when he was tired, take him out to a fancy dinner when he was down, and kiss him on the corner of his mouth before leaving for work on any ordinary day. That had been the happiest time of his life. Until Leo Vance returned. Now, none of it could ever be recovered. Shaking himself from the memory, Ethan prepared to leave. As he reached the door, a wave of dizziness washed over him, and a sharp pain stabbed at his stomach. Before he collapsed, he managed to dial a number with the last of his strength, accidentally calling Arya. It rang once before the call was declined. Ethan lay on the cold floor for a long, long time. Eventually, a sliver of consciousness returned, and he managed to call 911. The diagnosis was acute gastritis, along with a host of other issues from stress and malnutrition. The doctor told him he had to take care of himself, that he couldn't keep skipping meals. He was staring blankly down the hospital corridor when a smug voice interrupted his thoughts. "What are you doing at the hospital? Don't tell me you have a terminal illness." Ethan turned to see Leo standing there, looking down his nose at him. "What's it to you?" Ethan had no energy for this. He turned to go back to his room, but Leo grabbed his arm. "It's nothing to me. In fact, I hope you die soon. Then Arya will be all mine." Leo leaned in, his voice a venomous whisper. Ethan sneered. "Don't worry. I have no interest in fighting you for her." He shook Leo's hand off. Though he hadn't used much force, Leo stumbled backward dramatically and fell to the floor. At that exact moment, Arya appeared around the corner. She saw the whole thing. She strode over, shoved Ethan hard against the wall. His back slammed into the concrete, and as he slid to the floor, a searing pain shot through his stomach. Across from him, Leo looked down, his voice soft and wounded. "Arya, I saw Ethan was here, and I just wanted to see how he was doing. I didn't think he hated me this much." Arya meticulously checked Leo for any injuries. When she looked back at Ethan, her eyes were frozen over. "Do you have to target Leo again and again? It seems 5 years isn't enough. Let's make it 10. For the next 10 years, don't even think about appearing on a screen again." She helped Leo to his feet. As she did, she caught sight of Ethan's deathly pale face and the sweat beading on his forehead. She hesitated for a fraction of a second, as if about to say something, but Leo clutched his stomach. "Arya, my stomach is hurting again. Can you take me to see the doctor?" And just like that, Arya didn't spare Ethan another glance. She wrapped her arm around Leo and walked away. Ethan's reputation was systematically dismantled online during his hospital stay. The video of him punching Leo went viral, and he was vilified for being a bully and abusing his power over a newcomer. Then came the final nail in the coffin. He was accused of being a homewrecker. A gossip blogger released a dozen smoking gun photos of him and Arya together, taken over the years. I've been following Ethan Cole for a while, and I've often seen him being intimate with a mystery woman. Today, I can finally confirm that woman is Arya Vance. Ethan Cole is not who he seems. He's been seducing another man's girlfriend. What is he if not a homewrecker? The internet erupted. The attacks against Ethan were relentless. I'm actually going to be sick. The man I've admired for years is a homewrecker. I just bought his magazine cover. Ugh, I'm going to go burn it. So disgusting. A small minority expressed skepticism, suggesting maybe he and Arya were actually dating. But anyone who defended him was immediately attacked. Homewrecker apologists can go die. Everyone knows how much Arya dotes on Leo. They even said on TV that they've known each other for years. Why are you still trying to defend Ethan Cole? At the height of the online fury, Leo posted a photo of his and Arya's hands intertwined. Arya liked it. It was seen as an official response. It cemented the public's belief that Ethan was the third party, desperately trying to destroy their relationship. The day Ethan was discharged, he was ambushed by a mob of reporters. A dozen cameras were shoved in his face, microphones demanding to know why he would destroy someone else's relationship. Ethan said only one thing: "I'm not a homewrecker." The next second, a rotten egg splattered against his forehead, thrown by an anti-fan. They had found their chance, hiding in the crowd to assault him. Weak from his stomach ailment, Ethan could only curl in on himself as more foul things were thrown at him, soiling his clothes and hair. He was a complete mess. Just then, another commotion erupted nearby. It was Arya and Leo, also leaving the hospital. The horde of reporters instantly shifted, swarming them instead. Ethan finally had an opening. He scrambled away, but as he ran, he glanced back. Through the sea of people, he saw Arya shielding Leo like a precious treasure, protecting him from any harm. Ethan's hand, pressed against his stomach, clenched. A strange, hollow laugh escaped his lips as he turned and disappeared. He went back to the penthouse to pack his final things, but he realized he'd forgotten something still at Arya's. He had no choice but to go back. He assumed she wouldn't be home, but the moment he opened the door, their eyes met. Arya was sitting on the sofa, her brow furrowed. "I texted you. Why didn't you respond? Where did you take all the things from the house?" "They were my things," Ethan said flatly. "You don't want to live here anymore?" she asked. Before he could answer, she continued, "Fine. It's better this way. At least you won't be upsetting Leo. He's not well and needs to rest. You can move into the villa in Malibu. I'll have someone clean it for you." Ethan didn't reply. He went to the bedroom to get his last possession. It was his first ever award from 7 years ago when he had just started. It was small, not particularly fancy, but it meant the world to him. As he packed it away, he noticed a white stick on the nightstand. He picked it up. A pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. Ethan froze. "You're pregnant." The moment he asked, Arya snatched it from his hand. "It's none of your business," she said coldly, turning away. Ethan stepped in front of her, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Is it my child?" Arya hesitated for only a second before letting out a short, sharp laugh. "Do you really think that's possible?" "No, of course not. How could it be?" Ethan gave a self-mocking smile and turned to leave. He'd only taken 2 steps when the pain in his stomach flared up again. He staggered, bending over until it subsided. Arya moved closer. "Are you not feeling well?" Only then did she seem to notice how pale and gaunt he looked. She studied his face for a long moment. "It's for the best. You're not working for a while, so you can rest. I'll deposit an allowance into your account every month." "I don't need it." Ethan looked up, his eyes startlingly calm. "I don't need your money." He pushed past her, but she grabbed his arm. "Are you sure you're okay?" she asked, a sliver of doubt in her voice. Before Ethan could answer, a loud crash came from Leo's room. He appeared in the doorway, looking distressed. "Arya, I don't feel well. My head is killing me. Can you stay with me tonight?" In an instant, Arya's focus shifted. All other concerns vanished. "You probably just have a bug," she said dismissively to Ethan. "Just take care of yourself." Then she rushed to Leo's side. Ethan watched her go. This time, when he left, he didn't look back. Before his flight took off, he posted everything to his social media. The proof. He wasn't the homewrecker. He and Arya had been in a committed relationship. Leo was her brother-in-law. They were the ones in the wrong. He ended the post with an announcement of his retirement. "It's been a ride. Signing off." He posted it, then snapped his SIM card in half. He was on his way to a new life. When Arya woke the next morning, her head was pounding. She had the nagging feeling she'd forgotten something important, but she couldn't place it. Her phone buzzed incessantly on the nightstand. She picked it up, her head still fuzzy, and swiped it open. The first headline she saw stopped her cold. 5 bold words. "Ethan Cole quits Hollywood." Arya was instantly awake. She went to Ethan's Instagram page. His latest post had a staggering number of views and likes. The comment section was a war zone. Everyone was now arguing over who the real homewrecker was. Arya scrolled through, her frown deepening as she saw comment after comment viciously attacking Leo. She dialed a number. "Find Ethan Cole. Get him to delete that post. Now." She hung up, a strange agitation churning inside her. On impulse, she tried calling Ethan, but the call wouldn't go through. A few minutes later, her assistant called back. Ms. Vance, I've checked. Mr. Cole took a flight. Out of the country last night. Arya went still. What did you say? Mr. Cole has left the United States, ma'am. The words sank in, and Arya's face contorted into a mask of cold fury. Her grip on the phone tightened until her knuckles were white. Find him, she hissed, her voice low and dangerous. Find out where he ran to. After she ended the call, she couldn't contain her rage any longer. She swept the glass off her nightstand, shattering it against the wall. Ethan Cole, you have some nerve, running away behind my back. Just then, Leo came into the room and stepped on a shard of glass. Ow! Blood welled up from the sole of his foot. Arya's brow furrowed. Why aren't you wearing slippers? Though her tone was sharp, she helped him to a chair and called for a maid to clean up the mess and a doctor to tend his foot. Leo grabbed her hand. Arya, I don't like other people touching me. Can you do it? Normally, Arya would have agreed without a second thought. But this time, her mind was replaying Ethan's post, the photos of their 3 years together, intimate moments she herself had almost forgotten. Now they were crystal clear. Her thoughts were in turmoil. She didn't know what was wrong with her, but she instinctively pulled away from Leo. I have urgent work to deal with. She left the room, leaving Leo so angry he smashed another glass. Arya went to her study, but couldn't focus on work. She kept messaging her assistant, demanding updates on Ethan's whereabouts. She told herself she wanted to make him pay for his reckless behavior, but deep down, a frantic, unnamed fear was growing. If she didn't find him soon, it would be too late. Too late for what? She didn't know. She only knew that for the past 3 years, Ethan's world had revolved around her. He would send her dozens, sometimes hundreds, of messages a day. Most of the time, she was too busy to reply, but he never stopped. Couples should be open with each other, he used to say. Arya scrolled through their message history. She was shocked to realize it had been a long time since he'd contacted her like that. The messages had started dwindling 3 months ago, right around the time Leo moved in. How had she not noticed? After closing the chat, she still felt restless. She opened her browser and typed in Ethan's name. He debuted at 18, 7 years ago. Every one of his projects was documented online, his entire career laid out in a neat timeline. As she scanned through it, her eyes locked on a promotional image from his very first commercial. In the photo, Ethan was just a background extra, standing in a corner, wearing a ridiculously loud, garish outfit of bright red and green. That outfit, Arya's pupils contracted. 7 years ago, she was 20. A powerful relative had died, and she was named the sole heir. Instantly, she became a target. Scheming relatives and illegitimate children all wanted her dead. One night, she was attacked. Stumbling through an alley, weak from blood loss, she collapsed. Someone found her. A voice, thick with concern. Did you make someone angry? It looks like you're being followed. You're bleeding so much. Should I call the police? In her delirium, all she could see were flashes of garish, bright colors. Red and green. The person had saved her, leading her pursuers away and stopping the bleeding. She had passed out before she could see their face. When she woke up, she was in a hospital. An 18-year-old Leo Vance was sitting by her bed. Did you save me? She had asked. Leo had nodded without hesitation. And from that moment on, their lives had been intertwined. For 7 years, she had never questioned it. She had dismissed the flashes of color as a hallucination. But now, looking at this old photo, a horrifying possibility began to dawn on her. The person who saved her. It might have been Ethan. The possibility was too much for Arya to handle. Her head throbbed. She made another call. I need you to find the filming location for Ethan Cole's first commercial 7 years ago. While she waited, more memories flooded back. Ethan's passionate pursuit of her 3 years ago. He had been so bold, so direct when he confessed his feelings. Her life had never contained anyone like him. So open, so clean, so sincere. It had been impossible not to be drawn to him. When she was with him, a strange sense of peace would settle over her. Her anxiety and her temper would simply melt away. Ethan was like clear water, smoothing all her rough edges. And then Leo had returned. Arya started seeing Ethan bullying him, or so she thought. She had instinctively protected Leo, and in doing so, had unconsciously pushed Ethan away. It was only now, in this quiet study, that Arya finally admitted it to herself. She had been prioritizing Leo over Ethan. But that wasn't right. Whatever her past with Leo was, they could never truly go back. Ethan was her fiancé. Realizing this, a wave of regret washed over her. She couldn't bear to think about the things she had done, the ways she had hurt Ethan, as if she had been possessed. A knock at the study door broke her train of thought. "Arya, you don't seem well. I made you some soup. You should have it while it's hot." Leo walked in, limping slightly, carrying a bowl. Arya remained seated. He placed the bowl on her desk and reached out to embrace her. She caught his arm, her grip like steel, and pushed him away. Her voice was ice. "Don't touch me." Leo froze. "Arya?" She cut him off, her question sharp and direct. 7 years ago. Was it really you who saved me?" Leo's expression shifted, but he quickly composed himself. "Why are you suddenly asking about that? I still remember it clearly. You were covered in blood. I called the ambulance and took you to the hospital." His performance was flawless. He didn't seem to be lying. Arya was torn. "I'll leave you to it then," Leo said, turning to go. Just then her phone buzzed. She opened the message and read the answer that made her heart stop. The filming location for Ethan's commercial 7 years ago was just blocks from where she had been attacked. "Stop," she commanded. Leo turned back. "You lied to me, didn't you?" she said, her expression unreadable. A flicker of panic crossed Leo's eyes. He hadn't saved her. He had just been passing by that day and saw an opportunity. Arya's clothes, her bearing. She was clearly from a wealthy family. As Ethan was helping her into the ambulance, Leo had boldly stepped forward and claimed to be her family. Ethan, relieved, had entrusted her to him, and that one lie had lasted 7 years. "Of course not," Leo tried, forcing a smile. "Arya, why would I ever lie to you? Don't you trust me?" At that moment, there was another knock on the door. The head housekeeper stood there, holding a smartphone. "Ma'am, I found this under the bed in your sister's old room while cleaning." It was her sister's phone. No wonder they couldn't find it when they were sorting through her belongings. Arya took it. After unlocking it, she went straight to the messaging app. There, she found an unsent draft. "Arya, I know you and Leo have a history, but I have to tell you, he's not as innocent as you think. He calculated his way into my life, drugged me, leaked stories to the press, and forced me to marry him. When he found out you were my sister, he started creating opportunities to get close to you. I even caught him deliberately sabotaging Ethan several times. Ethan must have suffered a lot because of him. I don't have much time left, Arya. I just hope you don't get fooled by him." The message ended there. Her sister had tried to warn her, even on her deathbed, but she was too late. "Arya, what did you find?" Leo asked, his voice laced with anxiety. Arya didn't answer him. She sent a quick text. Within minutes, 2 security guards entered the study and flanked Leo. Her face was like stone. "Lock him in his room. Don't let him out without my permission." Leo began to shout, panicked, but Arya ignored him completely. She pressed her fingers to her temples, where a vein was throbbing. Her assistant finally called with the information she'd been waiting for. "Ms. Vance, we found Mr. Cole's destination." Arya looked up, her expression stunned. After a long moment, her voice came out, trembling slightly. "Book me the next flight. I'm going to bring him home." 5 years later, Ethan was moving again. This was the 6th country he had lived in over the past few years. He wasn't running. He was searching for the perfect place to raise his daughter. "Lily, come help Dad with this box." Ethan called downstairs. He waited, but there was no response. "Lily, Lily." He scrambled down the stairs, tripping over a box in his haste. He ignored the pain and scanned the messy living room, but there was no sign of the little girl. He looked up and saw the front door was ajar. "Lily, Lily Cole." His voice was tight with panic. "Okay, you win. Daddy gives up. Please come back." He ran out into the yard, his heart pounding in his chest. The thought of her being lost, of someone taking her, was suffocating. "Are you looking for her?" A gentle voice came from the house next door. Ethan whipped his head around. A beautiful woman in a white dress was standing on her porch, holding Lily in her arms. The 4-year-old girl, a perfect little doll, was sleeping soundly against her shoulder. "Lily." Ethan rushed over, his arms wrapping around his daughter. The woman explained softly, "My door was open. When I came downstairs, I found her asleep on my rug. I think my puppy must have lured her over. She played until she wore herself out." As if on cue, a small Maltese poked its head out from inside the house. "I'm so sorry," Ethan stammered. "We just moved in today. Things are a mess. I didn't realize she'd gotten out." The woman smiled kindly. "I understand completely. Well, we're neighbors now. If you ever need anything, just let me know." She introduced herself. "My name is Chloe Summers." The name sounded vaguely familiar to Ethan, but he was too relieved to dwell on it. "Thank you so much. I should get her back home." Chloe nodded, a faint glimmer in her eyes as she watched him carry his daughter away. Back home, Ethan gently laid Lily on her bed and pressed a kiss to her forehead. He watched her sleep for a long moment before reluctantly returning to his unpacking. 5 years ago, he had left everything behind. After a year of aimless drifting, He had found himself at a rundown orphanage and adopted a little girl. She was from his home country and even looked a little like him. He had never regretted it for a second. Lily was a gift, the one thing that had saved him. He had never known much familial love in his own life, but he was determined to give all of his to her. In the middle of the night, Ethan was jolted awake. He sleepily reached over to pull the blanket over his daughter, but was met with burning heat. He was instantly wide awake. He scooped Lily into his arms. "Lilybug, are you not feeling well?" Lily stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy," she whimpered, "my head hurts." Ethan fumbled for the thermometer. A few minutes later, his fears were confirmed. She had a high fever. He scrambled out of bed, ready to rush her to the hospital, but then he remembered he hadn't bought a car yet, and getting an Uber out here in the middle of the night would be nearly impossible. He had no other choice. He ran next door and knocked. To his surprise, the door opened almost immediately. "Ms. Summers, I am so sorry to bother you, but my daughter has a fever. Could I possibly borrow your car?" Chloe didn't hesitate. "You're new here. You don't know the roads. I'll take you." She grabbed her keys. "Thank you," Ethan said, his voice thick with gratitude. Chloe drove with a steady, swift confidence, getting them to the hospital in just over 10 minutes. She didn't just drop them off. She stayed with them the entire night, waiting until Lily's fever broke before driving them home. Ethan was overwhelmed by her kindness. The next day, he brought over a basket of food to thank her. Lily stood shyly by his side until she spotted the little dog inside. Her eyes lit up. "Daddy? Annie Chloe? Can I play with him?" Before Ethan could answer, Chloe smiled. "Of course you can. Come on in." She then looked at Ethan. "I made dinner. You should stay and eat with us." Ethan immediately shook his head. "Oh no, I couldn't impose." But then Lily tugged on his sleeve. "Please, Daddy, I want to play with the puppy." And so, Ethan ended up staying for dinner at his new neighbor's house. Over the next few months, Ethan quickly settled into his new life. Lily started preschool, and Lily, and Chloe became fast friends. It was easy to feel close to her. Lily adored going over to Chloe's house. Chloe always had toys and snacks ready for her, and Lily would play for hours, completely content. One afternoon, Lily came home from school, still wearing her little backpack, and ran straight past her own front door to knock on Chloe's. "Pretty Andy," she called out. "My school is having a field trip, and we need a mommy and a daddy to come. Can you be my mommy?" By the time Ethan processed what his daughter had just said, it was too late to stop her. Chloe opened the door and knelt down to Lily's level, a fond smile on her face. "Have you asked your daddy if that's okay?" Lily bounced over to Ethan, her head tilted up. "Daddy, is it okay if Annie Chloe is my mommy?" Ethan's eyes widened. "She's just a kid. She doesn't know what she's saying." He repeated to himself. He was at a complete loss for words and looked to Chloe for help. He knew she was single, but that didn't mean she wanted to suddenly acquire a child. "I don't mind if you don't," Chloe said, standing up. Her gentle eyes met Ethan's, and there wasn't a hint of reluctance in them. Ethan looked from her to Lily. His daughter's eyes were bright and full of innocent hope. He couldn't bring himself to say no. "Then, I guess we'd be grateful," he said to Chloe. "It's no trouble," she replied. "Lily is adorable." Hearing the compliment, Lily beamed and threw her arms around Chloe's legs, planting a loud, smacking kiss on her cheek. "Pretty Annie, you're the second best person in the whole world." Chloe tweaked her nose playfully. "Oh, and who's the first?" "My daddy," Lily declared without a moment's hesitation. Ethan's heart melted. The next day, the three of them went to the school together. They were immediately complimented by the other parents on what a beautiful, well-matched couple they made. Ethan could only offer a polite smile. Chloe, however, was perfectly at ease. Whether she was playing with Lily or chatting with Ethan, she wasn't awkward at all. It was as if they really had been a family for years. They spent the day as a pretend family. As the field trip ended, Lily announced she wanted to buy a hot dog. Ethan gave her some money, but she insisted on going by herself. He followed her discreetly, keeping a safe distance. He glanced away for just a second, and when he looked back, he saw her collide with someone. Lily tumbled to the ground. Forgetting everything else, Ethan rushed forward and scooped her up. "Lilybug, are you hurt?" His world narrowed to his daughter. He didn't even notice the stunned expression on the woman's face in front of him, until she spoke his name, each syllable a sharp, deliberate blow. "Ethan. Cole." The voice was so familiar that even after 5 years, he would never forget it. It was Arya. 5 years had passed, but Ethan felt no desire to catch up. He tightened his hold on Lily and tried to walk away. Unsurprisingly, his path was blocked. Arya looked more mature now, radiating the powerful aura of someone in charge, but she also looked worn out. Her eyes were bloodshot. "Ethan, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? Why did you keep moving?" Why did you keep hiding from me? Her tone was as demanding as it had been 5 years ago. Hiding from you? You're mistaken. I'm just living my life. Ethan's voice was flat, devoid of emotion, as if he were talking to a stranger. Arya stared at him, her eyes filled with an emotion he couldn't decipher. Her gaze dropped to the child in his arms. When she saw the face that was a miniature version of Ethan's, she froze. Is she your child? She whispered, her expression dazed. A moment later, it hardened with resolve. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Just come back with me. I'll treat her as my own, I promise. She reached out, as if to touch Lily's cheek. Ethan took a sharp step back, shielding his daughter from her. Arya, are you delusional? My child is my responsibility. I don't need your help. Arya's face fell. I've already lost 5 years. I don't want to lose anymore. Ethan, please, give me a chance to make it up to you. Let me be her mother, can't you? Ethan was speechless with fury. Before he could retort, Lily's small voice piped up. You're not my mommy. I have a mommy. She's super nice and buys me yummy food and Barbie dolls. She waved a small hand behind her. Mommy, come quick. This lady is bothering me and Daddy. Arya looked stunned. She lifted her gaze and saw a woman walking toward them from behind Ethan. A woman who looked familiar. As Chloe drew closer, recognition dawned on Arya's face. Chloe Summers? What's your relationship with Ethan? The question surprised Ethan as well. They knew each other? Chloe's expression didn't change. She smoothly took Lily from Ethan's arms and asked Arya, what relationship would you like us to have? Before Arya could answer, Lily chirped, Mama. Arya's face turned ashen. She took a step toward Chloe, but Ethan moved to block her, positioning himself between the two women. Arya, I have my own family now, he said, his voice firm. Don't even think about trying to ruin what I have. If you do, I won't let you get away with it. He took Chloe's hand. To any observer, they were the picture of a happy family. That's not true. Arya's voice was sharp with disbelief. The person you loved was me. How could you be with her? Or were you two sneaking around behind my back 5 years ago? Ethan didn't bother to correct her. At this point, it didn't matter. His silence was all the confirmation she needed. Ethan, you betrayed me. She whispered, her voice cracking. How could you? She advanced on him again, but Chloe stepped forward, and the two women faced off in a silent battle of wills. Finally, Lily rubbed her eyes and wrapped her arms around Chloe's neck. Mommy, I'm sleepy. Can we go home? At that, something in Arya broke. Her shoulders slumped in defeat, and she took a step back, her eyes cast down. She stood frozen as they walked away. On the way home, Ethan asked Chloe, you know her, which means you knew who I was, right? Chloe didn't deny it. Yes, I worked with her on a project a few years ago. I saw you then, though you probably don't remember me. Besides, she added with a small smile, you were one of the biggest stars in the country, voted Hollywood's dreamiest year after year. It would have been hard not to know who you were. Meeting you here, she finished, was just a coincidence. It all clicked for Ethan. That's why she had known his name when he hadn't told her. Why she had been so immediately trusting. They had met before. Ethan had hoped Arya would give up, but he had forgotten how relentless she could be when she wanted something. That night, she found his house. She stood outside the door for a long time. When Ethan refused to let her in, she started talking, her voice carrying through the wood. Ethan, I've been looking for you for years. I know I made so many mistakes. You have every right to hate me, but please, let me explain. There was never anything real between me and Leo. I thought he was the one who saved me all those years ago, so I felt indebted to him. That's why I was so good to him. Then I found out the truth. The person who saved me was you. I know how badly I messed up, how much I hurt you. I'm so sorry, Ethan. I got rid of Leo. Please come back to me. Let me make it up to you. You can act again. You can have your career back. I won't ever try to control you again. Arya's voice went on and on. Ethan sat in his living room and heard every word. It all sounded so absurd, so laughable. When he was 18, fresh out of high school, he'd taken his first job as a background extra. On that day, wearing that ugly, stuffy costume, he met a 20-year-old Arya. He saved her life, and for years, he never forgot her. When he was 22, he was a rising star. He saw her again at an industry party. He was instantly captivated and began to pursue her. They were together for 3 years. It hadn't all been bad, but then Leo showed up, and things turned ugly. He didn't want to dwell on the past. He wasn't going back. He was fine on his own. Go away, he called out, his voice flat. Stop disturbing me. It was the only thing he said to her all night. The next morning, he was woken by a phone call. It was the local police department, asking him to come and post bail for Arya. She had been arrested overnight, mistaken for a prowler by a neighborhood patrol. Ethan refused without a second thought. But then Arya's voice came on the line. Ethan, I'm in a foreign country. I don't know anyone else here. If you don't come, they'll keep me here. Her voice was small. Please, Ethan. Just this once. Ethan hung up and went back to sleep. Half an hour later, he was up. He got dressed, took Lily to preschool, and on his way home, he made a detour. Arya looked haggard after a night in a cell, but her natural elegance kept her from looking truly pathetic. Just humbled. The moment she saw Ethan, her eyes lit up. I knew you wouldn't abandon me. Ethan ignored her. He finished the paperwork and turned to leave. Arya followed him like a shadow. Ethan, I have nowhere to go. Can I stay with you? It was such a shameless request. Ethan's patience snapped. Are you serious? Why are you pretending to be destitute in front of me? He would never forget the humiliation of that $1 million suit. Go wherever you want. Just stay away from me. He turned to leave, but she suddenly wrapped her arms around his waist from behind. Her voice was a soft, earnest whisper. Ethan, I miss you so much. I want you to forgive me. Please, just tell me what I have to do. What can I do to make you come back to me? Ethan was silent for a long time. Then, he pried her hands off him. His own voice was just as serious. Arya, there's no going back for us. People have to move forward. I'm not stuck in the past. This is where it ends. Go home, and don't look for me again. His words were cold, final. But Arya wouldn't give up. I'll make you change your mind, Ethan, she said, her voice trembling with a stubborn conviction. I'm the only one who can give you the best of everything. Not Chloe, not anyone else. Only me. It can only be me. A new teacher started at Lily's preschool. She had dark hair and dark eyes, and she was very beautiful, but she had a cold, unapproachable air about her. The other children were curious, but the new teacher only seemed interested in one student, Lily. Lily blinked her big eyes. I know you. You're the lady who made my daddy sad. Arya knelt in front of her, her voice carefully controlled. Did your daddy say bad things about me? My daddy doesn't say bad things about people behind their backs. He says that's not right, and he never told me about you. I don't know who you are. Hearing this, Arya's heart ached. Ethan must still hate her so much that he wouldn't even mention her name to their daughter. Your daddy and I, we're old acquaintances. We used to be very, very close. But I did some things wrong, and I disappointed him. She leaned in, her voice coaxing. Lily, can you tell me what your daddy likes? I want him to forgive me. Can you help me? Arya was trying to charm her, to get information from child. But Lily was smarter than she looked. I'm not telling you anything. You're a stranger. You can't trick me. Lily clamped her hands over her ears and turned away. It was an adorable, defiant gesture, and it reminded Arya so much of Ethan. Whenever she had upset him, he would cover his ears just like that and say he didn't want to hear her. But all it took was a little coaxing, and he would forgive her. He never held a grudge. And yet, she had managed to push him so far that he had stayed away for 5 years. Okay, I want to ask about that, Arya said softly. But, Lily, can you tell me about that other woman? What is she to your daddy? At this, Lily turned back. Her childish voice was full of certainty. She's my mommy. That's impossible. Arya's face hardened. Little girls shouldn't lie. The police will come and take you to jail. She was only trying to scare her a little, but her tone was too severe. Lily's face crumpled, and she burst into tears. Auntie Chloe is my mommy. I love her, and she loves my daddy. So she's my mommy. You're a big liar. Wah! Arya panicked. She had no idea how to comfort a crying child. She fumbled, trying to wipe away the tears and snot, only making a bigger mess. Lily's face was red and blotchy. I'm sorry, Lily, Arya said, her voice strained and unnaturally high. I apologize. Please don't cry, okay? She pulled Lily into her arms, patting her back awkwardly. Unfortunately, it was pickup time. Parents were streaming into the school, including Ethan. And that was the scene he walked in on. Arya, what are you doing? He strode over, pushed Arya away, and swept Lily into his protective embrace. If you have a problem, you take it up with me. She's just a child. His voice trembled with a mixture of anger and fear. Arya stood up, a flicker of deep, hidden sadness in her usually cool eyes. Ethan, do you really think I'm that kind of person? I would never hurt her. Never. She looked at Lily, nestled in his arms. Haven't you noticed? Her eyes. They're a little like mine. The truth is, I once had a child with you. Enough. Ethan cut her off. Don't come here again. He turned and walked away quickly, as if fleeing a monster. Arya stood frozen, watching him go. Then she looked down at her fingertips. Curled around one finger was a single, tiny strand of hair. Lily's hair. Ethan was shaken on the way home. He wouldn't let anyone take Lily away from him. By the time he pulled into the driveway, his heart was still racing. As he and Lily got out of the car, Chloe came out of her house. She immediately noticed his distress. Did something happen? Ethan shook his head, then nodded. I think. I need to find a new preschool for Lily. Or maybe we should move again. Move. Chloe looked puzzled, then realization dawned. Is this because of Arya? Ethan didn't hide it. Yes. I saw her at Lily's school. I don't know what she's planning. Chloe placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You don't have to worry so much. If you don't want to deal with her, I can talk to her for you. No, that's okay. After a moment of thought, Ethan sighed. I should be the one to talk to her. Running away won't solve anything. The next day, he called Arya and arranged to meet. Her voice on the phone was audibly excited. She was already there when he arrived. The moment he sat down, she pushed a folder across the table. Ethan frowned. What's this? I bought a few houses here for you and Lily. There's also a debit card with $50 million on it. Ethan, please don't refuse me this time. Just take it. Her sudden gesture threw him off completely. He had prepared a speech, but now the words felt useless. What is this all about? He asked, bewildered. As soon as he asked, Arya slid another paper across the table. I ran a DNA test. Lily is my biological daughter. Ethan's head snapped up, his face a mask of disbelief. What are you talking about? I adopted her from an orphanage. Arya touched her stomach, her expression filled with a deep, old pain. The baby I was carrying when you left. It was yours. I gave birth to her, but on that same day, an old enemy took revenge on me by kidnapping her. I searched for her for years. I never found her. A single tear traced a path down her cheek. I was going insane. I thought I would never find her, or you ever again. But now I know. It was fate. She was sent to another country, only to be found and adopted by you. By her own father. After a long silence, Arya looked up, her gaze steady and determined. Ethan, your marital status is single. You and Chloe are just neighbors, aren't you? Ethan was still reeling from the revelation that Lily was his biological daughter. His mind was a chaotic mess. What if we are? What if we aren't? He answered vaguely. He took a deep breath, trying to regain his composure. Arya, I came here today to make one thing clear. I will never get back together with you. And even if Lily is your daughter, I will not let you raise her. And you will not go to her school again. Let's just leave each other alone. It's over. He said it all in one breath. Arya didn't respond for a long time. Finally, she let out a small, humorless laugh. Over? It can never be over for us, Ethan. You are my fiancé. Lily is my daughter. We are bound by the deepest ties of love and family. How could it ever be over? Her voice was soft, gentle, but underneath it, Ethan could hear a dangerous, obsessive edge. This was the Arya he remembered. She cared little for the feelings of others. Her world revolved around her own desires. When she decided on something, she pursued it with a relentless, unyielding force. Her favoritism for Leo had been just as domineering. And now, she was just as determined to have Ethan back, regardless of what he wanted. Ethan felt a wave of exhaustion. It was impossible to reason with her. After their talk, Arya stopped going to Lily's preschool. Ethan felt a small measure of relief. But then she moved into a house down the street. She came to his door 5 or 6 times a day. He never once let her in, but he allowed her to stand on the porch. Often, he and Lily would be laughing and playing inside, and he'd look up to see Arya standing there, a solitary, lonely figure. She rarely spoke or tried to force her way in. She would just stand there, sometimes for hours. It seemed to be her new tactic, to wear him down with her silent, pathetic vigil. But he was not the same man he was 5 years ago. When a storm rolled in, drenching her to the bone, he didn't even glance her way. It was only on Lily's birthday that she took a step forward. She knelt by the open doorway and placed a gift box just inside. "Happy birthday, Lily," she said softly. Lily looked at the gift, then up at her father. Only when Ethan nodded did she run over, pick up the box, and whisper a small thank you. They lit the candles, sang the song, and cut the cake. When it was time to share slices, Lily leaned over and whispered in Ethan's ear, "Daddy, my teacher says you're supposed to share birthday cake with everyone. Should I give some to the sad lady at the door? She looks kind of lonely." Ethan paused for a moment, then nodded. "Go ahead." Lily slid off the sofa, carefully cut a piece of cake, and carried the plate to Arya. "This is for you. It's really yummy." A look of surprise flickered across Arya's face. She took the cake and glanced at Ethan. "Ethan, It was Lily's idea to share," he cut in, his tone sharp. She would have done it for anyone. Arya understood and fell silent. She ate the cake quietly, then managed a small smile. "It really is sweet. Thank you, Lily." She stood up, but as she did, she winced and pressed a hand to her stomach. She quickly straightened, her face returning to a neutral mask. "Well, I'll be going now. Good night, Ethan. Good night, Lily." She turned and disappeared into the darkness. Not long after she left, Ethan's phone rang. It was a number from his home country. He hesitated, then answered. "Is this Ethan?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes," he said quietly. It's about your mother, the voice said. She's very sick in the hospital. The doctors don't think she has much time. She keeps asking to see you one last time. Can you come home? This wasn't his biological mother, but his adoptive mother. She had taken him in for a few years, and while she wasn't kind, often yelling at him, sometimes hitting him, she had at least given him a roof over his head and food to eat. She had kept him from starving. After he became successful, he had sent her and her children millions of dollars over the years. He felt he had more than repaid his debt. He had no desire to see any of them again. But still, he decided to go. One last time. After 5 years, Ethan was back in his home country. It was Lily's first time, and she was buzzing with excitement the whole way. As they disembarked, she saw Ethan pull on a hat and a face mask. Is it dangerous here, Daddy? Are we not supposed to show our faces? She asked, immediately covering her own face with her tiny hands, peeking out through her fingers. Ethan smiled and gently pulled her hands down. No, sweetie, it's very safe. You don't have to hide. In truth, he wasn't sure if anyone would still recognize him. The disguise was just a precaution to avoid any trouble. It turned out to be a useless one. He accidentally bumped a man with a suitcase, and the man exploded in a tirade of curses. Not wanting to cause a scene, Ethan apologized profusely and offered to pay for any damages. I could transfer you some money. You should get checked out at a hospital, and if there are any issues, just contact me. I'll cooperate fully. Oh, look at Mr. Moneybags, the man sneered. You think a little cash makes you hot stuff? Not everyone wants your dirty money. And what's with the mask? Hiding some ugly mug, are you? The next thing Ethan knew, his hat was ripped off his head, followed by his mask. A ripple of excitement went through the crowd. Someone recognized him. Oh my God, is that Ethan Cole? I haven't seen him in years. It really is him. No wonder we haven't seen him. He quit the business. Wasn't it because he was some rich guy's mistress or something? No, didn't you hear? He released a statement. He was the real deal. That other guy, Leo something, was the homewrecker. Who knows the real story? Hey, look at that little girl with him. She looks just like him. Did he quit to go have a baby? The cacophony of voices made Ethan's head spin. He bent down to pick up Lily, trying to get away, but the man grabbed his arm, his grip painfully tight. I don't care who you are. You're not leaving until you get on your knees and shine my shoes. In the ensuing struggle, another hand clamped down on Ethan's arm, wrenching him away. The pain was sharp but brief. The crowd parted as a group of bodyguards pushed through, clearing a path. Ethan, I'm here to pick you up. Arya stood before him, shielding him from all the curious stares and harsh whispers. She escorted him out of the airport and into her car. Once they were driving away from the chaos, Ethan finally caught his breath. Thanks. Arya glanced at him, a hint of weariness in her eyes. You don't have to be so formal with me. Ethan turned to look out the window. A thank you is just a thank you. The rest of the drive was silent. Ethan was lost in thought, and he didn't realize where they were until the car stopped. He looked out at the familiar, imposing building and felt a wave of resistance. I've already booked a hotel. He reached for the door handle. Arya's hand covered his. It's dark and it's raining. Just stay here tonight. Her voice was soft. Lily's asleep. Don't make her move again. She looked at him, her expression pleading. Tomorrow, I'll take you wherever you need to go. Okay. It was rare for her to ask rather than command. Ethan was exhausted. He didn't have the energy to argue. And so, for the first time in 5 years, he stayed in the home they had once shared. Stepping inside, Ethan felt a strange sense of déjà vu. The penthouse was almost exactly as he remembered it from 5 years ago. The only difference was that every trace of Leo Vance had vanished. In its place were duplicates of things Ethan had once owned. It was as if he had never left. Ethan, your old room is ready for you. If you need anything, just let me know, Arya said, leading him to the door. Ethan nodded. Thank you. I'm just staying one night. I'll be gone in the morning. His tone was polite but distant. Arya opened her mouth to say something, then closed it. Well then, she said, her voice a little hoarse, you and Lily get some rest. As Ethan started to close the door, she called out his name. Ethan. He turned back. Is there something else? Arya's dark eyes rested on him, swirling with unspoken emotions. In the end, she just shook her head. No, I just wanted to say, good night. Sleep well. Ethan shut the door. He had a feeling Arya had changed. She was thinner, and some of her sharp, commanding energy had softened. Maybe something had happened to her. He didn't know, and he didn't want to think about it. He didn't sleep well, but he still woke up early. After getting ready, he planned to take Lily and leave immediately. But he found Arya in the living room. It looked as though she had spent the entire night on the sofa. The moment she saw him, she stood up. Ethan, you're up early. Did you sleep okay? Ethan gave a non-committal nod. Seeing he wasn't in the mood to talk, Arya didn't press. Where are you headed? I'll drive you. No, thank you. I can get an Uber. The refusal was automatic. Arya acted as if she hadn't heard him. She turned and